What's up, guys? Welcome to B Sports Picks. So yesterday we went 2-1. I showed 3 different leans that I was taking. One of them, which should have been the easiest one, which was the Detroit. That should have been the easiest game. They ended up losing to the Wizards. They started off the game losing like 21-10 or something crazy, and I don't think they ever came back from that. Anyways, that was supposed to be the easiest win, and it wasn't. I have 2 leans in the NBA for today. I'm going to tell you exactly what they are. If you want the final play, that's going to be inside the VIP. One thing I did want to mention, if you don't want to pay for the VIP, that's cool. In the comments, I had people saying, why am I going to pay for picks and stuff like that? You don't have to. I give away a lot of free value. I always say every single day, I say, go to the link in the description, click on free picks. I always give a lot of free picks. So if you don't want to pay for VIP, that's cool. If you do want to pay for it, you're going to get all the picks, not just the 1 or 2 that I'm putting out there. All right, guys, let me get right into it. So in the last 2 days, we actually went 7-1, which is a 5-0 2 days ago, and then a 2-1 yesterday. So 7-1 in the last 2 days. Yesterday, like I mentioned, it was a 2-1 from the free picks. I actually shared the free picks. I talked about this one right here, which was the Nets and the Magic. I even said that Brooklyn was going to go under 100 points. They ended up going 98 points. So this was a pretty solid bet right there. I also mentioned the Warriors and the Suns to go under 225. They ended up coming through for that very, very easily. You can see they didn't even score 200 points. The one that was a shocker to everyone was the Washington ended up coming out and whooping on the Detroit. This actually was ridiculous because Detroit was supposed to win the game by 15 points. They ended up losing by 9 points. So the projections and everything was off by about 20 points or something crazy. Anyways, you can see how heavy the odds were. Even at a -5.5, they ended up losing by 9. So anyways, this actually killed the parlay right there overall. I also did talk very clearly about the Spurs. I just said that I'm more than likely going to take the Spurs. I didn't like paying the juice right there, especially because they were on a back-to-back. So I ended up fading the Bulls as well over here. So you can see that actually hit right here. All right, now before I give you the 2 leans that I really like, let me go talk about this right here. This is points, rebounds, and assists. These are not my final plays. These are just strong players that have been hitting their lines consistently. So you can see Larson has hit this line of 18.5 7 straight times. I'm not going to go through every single one of these. Feel free to take a screenshot. And again, these are not my final plays. These are just strong streaks of players that have been hitting their lines. So one of the first things I like to look at is the back-to-back. You can see Detroit is at home. They're going against the Knicks. So the Knicks do have a 1-day rest advantage because Detroit, like I said, they played yesterday against the Wizards and they ended up getting whooped on. So there is a little bit of a regression coming here because they got embarrassed by one of the worst teams in the NBA. So expect them to have a big bounce back day today. I'm not taking them on the money line. I am going to take the under on this game. I'm going to tell you exactly why, and I'll get into it. Now, the next thing I like to look at is the dashboard and the SharpEdge tool. If you don't have access to this SharpEdge tool, you can get it for free for 2 weeks. Go to the link in the description, click on SharpEdge, and then you can get 2 weeks for free. I don't ever just blindly take these bets right here. These are just sharp leans of where the books are going, and it's giving you the reverse line moves and stuff like that. You can feel free to take a screenshot and do your own research. But out of here, I do actually like the Clippers and I don't like the Celtics because there's a lot of contradictions, especially the big one is that the line is moving in the opposite direction and they actually do have a lot of new players. So do the Clippers, but that's besides the point. The Celtics do have many, many more contradictions, which is the reason I'm staying away from that one. So anyways, feel free to take a screenshot. You can read all that stuff if you wanted to. This is just the sharp plays that are in the link. Those are just the sharp plays that's part of the tool. Next thing I like to look at is the line move tool, which is also inside the SharpEdge. You can see the Knicks and the Pistons, they started at a 227. It's actually now at 222. So the line did drop 5 points. This is one of the plays that I am looking at. And it tells you right here very clearly that it dropped a lot of points. Grizzlies and Timberwolves also dropped 2 points. And then the Clippers and the Kings actually went up. That's going to be an over lean. Again, these are not final plays. These are just strong indications on where the books are going. Now, once I'm done with that, I got to go to my dashboard and I'm going to click on NBA. And then you can get all the projections here. You can see the Pistons are at a 113. They're supposed to win this game by 1 point. Boston is supposed to win by 8. Bucks are supposed to win by 1. Timberwolves are supposed to win by 3. Now, the first play that I like I said, if you want the final exact number that I'm taking, you can go to the link in the description, get the VIP. I'm going to give you the exact lean, and then you can kind of consider what number you want to take yourself. So I'm going to give you the reasoning behind why I'm taking this on the under. So the Knicks is 112, Pistons is 113. This is just a projection. If you do the math there, it's 225. Now, if we go to the totals, the line opened up at a 227. It's currently at a 222. Now, the bets is 87%. The money's 84%. So heavy money is coming in, and percentage of the bets, everything is coming in on the over. Yet the line projection is 225. It started at a 227. It went down. It was actually at a 223 when I looked at this, and now it's down to a 222. So this line is continuously going down. If you think about this very clearly, why, if this much money is coming in on the over, why is the line shifting down? And I think I know the reasoning. Number one right here is Detroit Pistons have hit on the under 70% of the time in their last 17 games. So that is an average of 70% hit rate. On the other reason too is that the injuries over here, the big ones are Durant, Harris, and then on this side you got Towns, which is questionable, and then you got all these other guys that are probable and questionable. Now the other big thing too, like I mentioned, is Detroit got demolished yesterday. So the problem here is that they are gonna come back with a vengeance. So they're gonna be shooting a lot more, and that's another reason too. If you have to start looking at if the team is gonna be on a back-to-back the next day, then they conserve their players. So if they saw that they were getting blown out yesterday or whatever, then they're going to sit the players because they know they have to play today. And New York Knicks is actually a much stronger competitor than the Wizards. So anyways, that's just a little side note. One thing I will tell you is that these guys are going to be tired, even though they're at home. They played yesterday and they did lose. So like I said, they're going to be pissed. But that should help the over, actually, because they're pissed and they're going to score a lot. And this is going to be a pretty competitive game, but I still trust that the under is going to come in because of all the injuries and the back-to-back situation. The other thing I like too about Detroit is that they have the top 4 defense in the league. A few very key points on this game. Okay, they're on a back-to-back. They're tired. They have the top 4 defense on the Pistons side. They only allow 110 points per game. The Knicks have gone on the under 12 of the last 17 games on the road. And finally, the Pistons are actually 12-5 in the last 17 games. That's a 70% hit rate. And then on the Knicks side, when they're on the road, that's also around a 70% hit rate on the under. This is actually where the sharp money is going. That's the reason the line is dropping with all the injuries and everything I just explained. Now very quickly, before I give you the other lean, make sure you get the link in the description. Go where it says free picks. That way you can get alerted whenever I throw the free picks. Also, like I mentioned, you want to check us out for 1 day, 1 week. If you do the 1 week, that'll get you through the Super Bowl. Also, check out the 1 month. And if you want the SharpEdge tool, that's the tool that I just showed you for 2 weeks for free. The link is right there. All right, guys, I'm going to go through one more game. I really do like this one also. The only thing, like I said, they actually did have some traded players. So it is going to affect the line and stuff like that. I'm going to tell you straight up, I'm taking it on the money line. I'm not taking no tricks and stuff like that because of the traded players and the shift in the momentum and stuff like that. I'm going to tell you exactly how I'm playing this next play. I do want to say we crossed 3,700 subscribers. Let's get to 4,000. I really appreciate this. Please make sure you comment, like, share, and subscribe. Let me get into the final play. Now, the final play right here, it's going to be more of a fading this horrible team, which is the Kings. You can see their ATS right here, very small. It says 2-8. What this means is they only cover the spreads 2 out of the last 10 games. Now, the line did shift from a 2.5 from the Clippers to a 3.5. What this means is that the Clippers, the line is going in the favor of the Clippers. You can see 64% of the bets, 58% of the money is coming in on the Clippers, yet the line is still shifting in their favor. So the public actually aligns with this play, and there's a lot of reasoning behind that. At some point, you just have to fade this horrible team, which we have been doing as of like the last 2-3 weeks. Now, also, if we go over here, like I mentioned, the Kings don't cover the spread 2 out of the last 10 games. So they don't even, not only do they lose, but they cover the spread. They don't cover the spread, I should say. Clippers do cover the spread 50% of the time. And then this is a very, very important detail. The Kings are 0% in their last 8 games as underdogs. What this means is that they've lost 8 straight games whenever they start as an underdog, which they are starting today as underdogs. So a few more very key indications here is that the Kings are just trash right now. They do have Sabonis that is questionable, but they're missing Murray. So if Sabonis plays, this might become a little bit of a shittier play. Also, the Clippers did lose their 2 key players, which was Zubac and Harden. But the last time they did play each other, the Kings got blown out. They ended up losing the game by 31 points. It was the Clippers the score was 131 and the Kings was 90. So again, they got blown out by 41 points. So that's why I'm not playing around with this one. I'm not going to take the -2.5, none of that. I'm going to take it straight up on the money line. All right, guys. So a very quick recap. If you want the exact lines that I'm taking for the other game, which is going to be the Kings and the Pistons on the under. And then, like I said, the Clippers on the money line. I'm taking both of those. If you want the exact lines, go to the link in the description. Check out the VIP. Also, please make sure you subscribe, like, comment. Let me know what you think of these plays. If you think they suck or whatever, let me know. Thank you so much. Let's have a great day.